From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is the Fox 13 6 o'clock news.
The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled companies are entitled to religious views, and with that, they no longer have to provide some types of birth control to their female employees. It's a landmark court ruling that could affect much more than the president's health care law. Fox 13's political editor Craig Patrick breaks it all down for us.
The president just lost another key battle in the U.S. Supreme Court. Bottom line, if companies like Hobby Lobby object to birth control on religious grounds, they do not have to offer it to their employees.
The real question before the court was how far government can go to compel its citizens against their conscience.
Hobby Lobby only objected to certain types of birth control, like the morning after pill. But this 5-4 landmark court ruling could affect much more than that.
This case was about much more than contraception.
Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, in her minority opinion, claimed the court has ventured into a minefield. She fears that other companies can now cite religious objections to opt out of covering vaccines or a range of prescriptions. But in the majority opinion, Justice Alito disagreed and claimed this ruling would not open the floodgates.
The ruling is fairly narrow.
Attorney Paul Pizzo represents a Tampa Bay company that also objected to the birth control requirements.
This provision of the Affordable Care Act violates their strongly held religious principles.
The president does not know how many women will lose access to certain types of birth control under this ruling, but he's already looking for ways to provide it, perhaps through the government.
We will work with Congress to make sure that any women affected by this decision will still have the same of vital health services as everyone else.
So the president is now turning to Congress for help in working around the court, but Congress is gridlocked and Republican leaders claim the president has abused his power by working around Congress, so the president will not likely get much support and will not get very far, I don't think, Denise, with Congress.
Craig, let me ask you this. What type of birth control are we talking about, and why does Hobby Lobby object to offering it?
Well, Hobby Lobby does offer birth control to its employees. In fact, 16 out of 20 different forms of it, but it objects to certain types of birth control on religious grounds, like the morning after pill that can terminate pregnancies after conception. That's what Hobby Lobby was talking about in its case. But again, we're talking about a ruling that certainly could have much broader implications.
Also today, in another ruling, the U.S. Supreme Court dealt a big blow to organized labor. What might be the impact on unions?
Well, it would certainly affect public sector employees and their unions as well. This is a case coming out of the state of Illinois, but what the Supreme Court decided does affect public sector workers all across the nation. The gist of this argument was that home health workers represented by the SEIU did not have to pay dues if they did not want to join the union. Their dues were being automatically deducted from their compensation. Well, the Supreme Court ruled that if employees do not want to join a union, they do not have to pay to be a member of that union. So again, that's why it affects so many employees, but it also obviously can affect labor unions all across the nation. It can draw down their resources, their clout, and their strength. And of course, we're talking about a strong constituency within the Democratic Party.
Craig, thank you.